All right,
Cool.
so we're back with our second episode with Priit Mihkelson. Priit, how are you doing?
So far so good. Like I always say, it's not summer. I came to winter, so I was in a warm country, so it's all good. Adapting, but still healthy, and everything seems to be okay.
Good stuff. How was your trip to Dubai? Enjoy it?
Dubai was really nice. Yeah, we kind of thought it was a bad idea, maybe come straight from Canada, have one day. I travel with a family, so 1 day home, and then straight to Dubai. So as when the trip started to end, we were like, oh, it's not, I have a kid like 1 year and 4 months old. But it turned out to be a good decision to go. So we had going to Dubai, we had a nanny with us. So that actually, eased our burden. We could give a getaway, and we had 12-hour jet lag to deal with. So it was easier, definitely, in a warm country, because my son got sick in a last day in Canada. He was really like last day night was like like a green snot, little bit, and then some coughing. It was like, shit, that maybe you have to cancel because he gets sick. But when you go to warm country, UV light seems to kill the bacteria, and the recovery was good. So actually, it turned out to be a good decision. But yeah, I think I thought it was a good decision when I did plans. But then when all the trips started to take place in Canada, and then my wife was really like, I don't know about this, because the time difference, yeah, from Vancouver to Tallinn was 10 hours, and Tallinn to Dubai was 2 hours, like a time difference. So we ended up having like a 12-hour jet lag to deal with. So, but it was good in the end. I wouldn't change then, and everything worked out actually fine.
I noticed when you were out on your travels, you got some videos in with a few kind of like BJJ YouTubers as well, working some of your defensive stuff. Is that correct?
Ask me again now.
When you were out on your travels, I think it was in Canada, you got some videos from the BJJ stuff, your defensive stuff that you were doing with some BJJ YouTubers.
Oh yeah, the Jordan, Mr. Jordan, I think Persinger. I will check. So I would say his name right. Preisinger, yeah, Preisinger. So he has a good following right now. I think close to 125,000 like subscribers, and he does pretty good editing. And my friend who set up the Canada tour kind of contacted him, and it worked out, and he had seen some of my stuff, and then he said yes to let's do it. I don't think he knew what was it, because you see something in YouTube, and I don't know actually know that how deep he went, because some videos are good, some videos are better, and maybe some videos are not so good to see what I do. And YouTube is always behind, so to speak. So whatever comes out through Globetrotters, it's always like 3-4 months behind. So maybe I changed something, maybe I tweaked it, maybe I do something else, maybe. So so we had a good time. We actually did a 1-hour segment before. His idea was actually to do it shorter, but when the video started, I kind of looked at him, because I told him like we cannot do it in 10 minutes, and he kind of, I think, wanted 10 minutes, kind of like. And then when we started going, that the rhythm and the vibe we had and the understanding, and I was like, okay, we can go longer and longer, and kind of very coincidentally in a 1-hour mark, kind of it all the momentum ended. And then we finished it up, and I was like, oh shit, it was 1 hour, and it didn't feel like a drag, and it was like, we didn't push it to like have that time limit. It just happened naturally. And then we were about to finish, but the point was also that I know he rolls with his guests, so I was like, let's roll, let's roll also. That's the best way usually. And then I guess we did, I don't think it was 100% full on, but it was like a, feeling out role, flow role. I would even say it's semi-serious. It wasn't like, like nobody, if he could, he maybe, submit me or, but it wasn't clearly 100%, but he was more, like a role that he wanted to feel how it all works in a real life, So, and I think it was also good that he did a narration of this. And I think overall it was we both liked it. And all the feedback that he has gotten in his YouTube channel, I think the role has had like 45,000 views already in a couple of 2.5 weeks or something. And even the 1 hour role and 1 hour video, that's usually very long for YouTube, for maybe this audience, but it has already over 15,000 views for a 1 hour video. So that's pretty good. And so all the comments are positive, compared to Reddit. Reddit went like berserk mode. And so it's really two different worlds, and maybe two different audiences even.
Just elaborate.
So I think, and we already talked about doing something again. He mentioned something. Let's do it again.
Can you just elaborate on the Reddit threads, just for the listeners, just what you mean by that, just in case people don't know.
Reddit is sometimes sometimes I feel it's like accepted, and sometimes like Reddit is very aggressive and violent, and I understand also why they do it, but I don't want to engage usually there because I don't know who I'm talking to. There might be, I know some of them are black belts, and I think Jordan posted those videos, to the Reddit also. And so, people always, let's say, very many people see what they want to see, and even if the video is something else, their agenda seems to be always dragging it back to the place that the video didn't talk about, Their agenda is still like it doesn't work, or it's bullshit, or something. So some people are still dragging their own agenda. Even if, some guy was once in Finland talking to me, coming to my seminar actually, and then explained that, stuff that happened in a seminar, it was very positive, blah, blah, blah. He liked it, and he was a skeptic also. And then still Reddit found a way to drag this topic to the shit, and still like he was saying it how I was and everything worked and blah, blah. And then Reddit was, it's still bullshit, So there is attitude, clearly. I understand it also. I've learned to not mind it. And it has become for me, they're building their own echo chamber. Yeah, certain people are there, and I know, I'm saying, I don't say a lot of, but I know a few black belts. They left because it was so negative all the time. Everybody is kind of like tries to be a smartass or whatever it is, and there's really hard to have discussions there, at least what comes to my stuff. And I always said to all the Redditors, like, if you really want to have a discussion, let's do a Skype call, let's do a Zoom meeting. Let's go face to face, we record, we put it in publicly to the Reddit. And you can ask all the questions, you can try to expose me, let's argue, debate, I'm not going to do it in Reddit because it's very draggy, because you have to write, and then, for me, it's very hard to feel people's emotion and intent through writing. So it's better for face to face. So if Jordan did it, and then, there was another topic, then I have said something allegedly that, nobody can submit me, higher level belts can't submit me or something. And that got screenshot, and then kind of like from those Jordan topics, the spin-off topic started, that clears it all. Priit said nobody has submitted him, or something stupid like that. And that is like, I don't know, 300 comments or whatever it is. So they find, I know it's controversial, and I know there's questions why I'm so defensive and why. And none of them so far has taken up my offer to talk really face to face. Let's record it and let's put it up publicly. And so, like I said, I know what I'm doing seems controversial, turning my back, all the time, or even emphasizing or saying it's okay. And that can be misunderstood. Like we talked, like don't turn your back. Like last time, it was a half sentence, and some of them feel that I'm, forcing bad habits on people, white belts. But that's not true. And there are other stuff. So there's a lot of, for my thing, a lot of misunderstandings. Like people are taking at certain things out of context and then running with it. And I don't mind, if somebody goes listens to this podcast, go watch Jordan channel. There's like, I think, over 200 comments in one video, and the longer one has less, obviously. Watch those comments. There's like people, oh yeah, I tried and I like it, I've saved me, and there's a positive vibe, an occasional maybe like but Reddit is total opposite. It's like you go like, what? And so yeah, it is what it is. I guess it's a bit annoying, because I guess everybody wishes to be understood, but clearly I haven't picked the easiest, like what's the niche, yeah, so to speak, or the easiest to get acceptance, so to speak, or something, and going against the tide a little bit with all the ideas and always defending. And I wish Priit would attack more. It's always the sentence sometimes, but that's not what my research is about, So it seems certain things are somehow just rolling for the sake of the research and finding out things, and seems to be like really controversial idea for some people. And even if I do specifically for research rolling, it's always like, yeah, but it doesn't win fights, but that is not what I'm doing this, and yeah. So, and like I said, I never know who I talk to. Could be 12-year-old, could be 6-year-old, could be a white belt, because I actually know in Reddit there were some people some person was also very aggressive, and it doesn't work. And then he actually messaged me in Reddit that oh, I actually tried it out, and it actually works, and I tried it the way you did it, and yeah, but I'm sorry. And I was more saying than what my coach was saying, that it's bad to turn your back, and he was talking some other people words, but he was a white belt 6 months in, so I'm not saying you have no right to speak, but I've done jiu-jitsu 22 years, so it counts to something. And those people have less experience, but they're acting like they know it all because they have their coach's word, but they don't have context and I know that some coaches have also those attitudes, don't turn your back and everything else, so the mantra keeps living. And so I'm fighting that flood also, and I don't mind. It is what it is. It's a paradigm shift, and there's enough people experiencing that shift or trying it out and having good experiences, and we're tweaking, and it is in a way like uncharted territory. There's information around, but there's fewer systems, so, and that intrigues me, and I want to find out. And that seems to be the people that there's the thing that people have hard time understanding. So, and Reddit reflects that a lot, and it seems like it's his own his own world, its own world or something. Because when I go to clubs and do my thing, then it's totally different feeling, and the people can experience that. I do public tests in the beginning of seminars, and I let people choke me, publicly, like black belts. I let people choke me, and then I survive, and then the seminar starts, because then I build credibility, because I know what I do looks also like, I could choke you here, there. So I decided to start doing like public executions, in the beginning of the seminars, to build trust that I know what I'm doing, And then last one, I think, was also the Canada. I was like one good, pretty strong black belt. And I gave the neck, and it's not like I never tap, but I can put myself in a position. I showed how it works, and then people have, okay, because it looks really extreme, you know. So yeah, you know, that's life, whatever the Reddit is. So if somebody wants, go to BJJ Reddit. You know, there's a search, I think, put Priit there, and you will find. That's how I lurk out the topics. You know, people don't tag me usually, but they just talk about it, and then occasionally once a month go there, lurk out the topics that have have risen, and then I read them, and then we'll see what happens.
I mean, just before we go on, it's gone very dark in your room for some reason. Are you have you developed a light sensitivity?
You want people to lights on?
It'd be nice to see you. I can't see.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Sorry.
That's better. There you go. So I mean, just while we're on that, Canada, when you went out to see Jordan, was it?
Yes.
Yeah, that's quite a big risk. Do you know what I mean? That to do something like that, to film it, to record it, I think if anything, that gives good kind of backing to what you're teaching and the niche environment that you're and the techniques that you're working through at the moment. Because had it all failed miserably, that could have backfired on you. That could have backfired on you big time. And then it would have been like, yeah, it's not that Priit shit. Priit's full of shit.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know? So that was the I was afraid of that because, you know, let's say I know how good I am, yeah, and I know my level. I'm not saying, you know, I will never say like, yeah, world-class athletes can't choke me, or you know, I will never say something stupid because I can't. I know what it is, you know. I know what works and what I can do. So it was, I'm not saying like, you know, Jordan is not, but you know what I mean, when we're full sparring and everything, I'm, you know, I cannot match that athleticism, you know. Clearly Jordan is a better athlete than me, but we can still find out, you know, put ourselves in a positions that he feels okay, you know, and it might make sense, and it's hard here and there. So the testing doesn't need 100%. It's, I don't think, not because I can't, but I don't think it's the test like it's needed. Like, oh, nobody has done it in competition, that's why it doesn't work, you know. I don't think that's actually accurate, totally accurate. We can find techniques out what works even in lower paces. Yeah. So, but it was a calculated risk. Like I said, I do it in the seminar also. I know, you know, there's also, I think, at least one or two, at least two. Yeah, the club tour, their videos also. I think one is underhook, like a lapel choke defenses. And I also ask the black belts take my back, and you know, I give them the grips, all the grips they need, like deep ones, and I do my thing, and they can't choke me. Of course, in a sparring, you have to get there. You know, if I miss the spot, you know, and then I might get choked, but there is a spot. So that's the whole point. There is a spot. If I get there, you're less effective, you know. So then the sparring is sometimes hectic, you know, and then you miss a spot, and timing, they're better and everything, you know. So I'm trying to find those spots. So with Jordan also, I knew that it was a risky thing, you know. The 1 hour rolling was 1 hour talk was safe, obviously, yeah. So then it's like low pace, and I could talk whatever I want and make everything shine if I would be full of shit, you know. But rolling would expose me more. And but I guess, let's say, I guess it didn't that much, or you know, that rolling was pretty positive, and Jordan himself was really, like, I felt like genuinely interested. Like, you know, it's weird because in a video I will ask him also in that 1 hour long video about the twister, you know. Then I was like, yeah, you know, and then I said, do you you know, understand the twister? He said, oh, it's one of his favorite submissions or something, you know. And then I put my there, and he was like, oh, it's interesting that you do this. It's like, you know, he knows the twister, so to speak. And I think the rolling was good enough, you know, to show what I can do, you know. And obviously, if I would be bad in positions, then I would get more dominated or close to submission, you know. And I guess the armbar was really like I think the people who watched that maybe was like, yeah, now he's getting submitted. And we actually had a discussion after this with Jordan about that hitchhike, reverse hitchhike armbar, because he wasn't that familiar with this. And it was, you know, he did a legit armbar, and I don't think, again, like, I'm not saying, oh, it was 100%. No, but, you know, he's a strong guy, and it was serious, that moment, and was it 100%? I don't know, but the hitchhike kind of saved me, and so I think for people who are curious, I think those roles worked good. For people that were skeptics and are really like deniers or something, I don't think those videos, they work for them. They were still like, it was not 100% role, they always find something to nitpick. And also, I don't mind. I'm not looking for those people. I'm looking for people who have conscious or unconscious questions, and then what I do speaks to them automatically, kind of like, they're looking for something, and so I'm trying to provide the answers to their questions, and trying to answer question better. So it was a very calculated risk, and we were both happy we did it. And we talked with my friend later, like, it could have gone like really bad, and but it, in that sense, yeah, I know what I can do. That's why I took the risk,
It's a
because
calculated risk.
yes. So it's still, I wouldn't say it wasn't a risk. It was still a risk, but it was calculated one, knowing what I know, and then it worked out. I think I think it served its purpose.
I suppose if in both situations it could be a win-win for you, because because this is still development stuff, all right? You're not setting any of this in stone. You're very open in the fact that you say, look, this is pretty much research. This it's not set. I'm always exploring this. I'm always making changes. There's always advancements. Like what you said on YouTube, it's probably 3 months behind what's on your kind of current defensivebjj.com website. So you're always adapting and saying, look, I've learned that this needs to change or evolve. So there is that element of it always evolving. So even if it didn't go too well, you could still turn around and say, it didn't go too well because I didn't do this. I need to do this in future.
I think this attitude can also be taken, used by me wrongly, so to speak, like an excuse. So if I get submitted, it wasn't ready, and if it works, then it's ready. So
Yeah,
it's on me how to use it clearly. And if I get submitted and it is a, let's say, if somebody would do like seatbelt crucifix to me, I recently have talked about, at least in seminars and stuff, that I'm trying to study it, and I don't have everything figured out in how to really survive inside that positions, like you have somebody has like a Kimura seatbelt, and then you have crucifix, with the legs. So like you, and attacker's back is towards the mat, so I'm chest is up, and so I'm trying to study this, and then I don't have all the best answers yet, I don't feel that confident. Like, let's say somebody takes my back, underhook up, underhook downside. And then if I get submitted there, then, I have to be honest, that, they got me there and I don't know yet, I sometimes get out by using some feeling and, experience I have, but it's not that edible, like it's hard to pass it on, so to speak. It's not ready. So in some cases, if I can use it, but I have to be very careful that, how do I use it? Because if, like I said, if I get submitted, it's I'm ready, not blah blah blah, and if it works, then it's done. But it's still, I think it has to be taken in a right way. And I don't think I don't like them that people think that like everything changes daily. Some things stay still like for a year, half a year, a year and a half, maybe even, and then I find something. If it's very early stuff, we just discovered something, then the details are coming faster, some minor details, if it's very fresh. So I have to use this sentence attitude very carefully, that, because I don't want to also make it look like what I did in 3 months in a video is totally wrong now, and now it's better, so, but there, in some cases, there have been some tweaks here and there, but yeah, so I don't want to leave the impression that it's like, the videos I've done, it's totally wrong, But like I said, it is somewhat uncharted in like a territory. We're walking here, and because I change also stuff when I meet resistance, because sometimes things work, what I do, because people haven't adapted, They haven't seen this thing, you know, the baby riches or the Hawkings or whatever I do. So they have no like a good thoughts towards that, and are not maybe attacking it the most optimal way. So they need to spend a little bit time with me, and then the optimal behavior comes out. Yeah. And because let's say I optimize my defense, and then I'm waiting for them to optimize their attack, and then certain flaws or certain tweaks come out after they're optimized, and then I can change again, you know. So that's why sometimes the tweaks happen, because they're attacking better, and I don't know how to change before. If they don't attack the, you know, the most optimal way, then there's less to tweak, you know. I just fixed it, they had attack, you know, we didn't have an answer, now we have an answer, but then defense always tweaks the attack back. Yeah. So, and then it's like I need that time. So some people have you know, I do seminars or go to some gyms more regularly, they adapt better, and then, you know, maybe I do it once or twice a year, I visit somebody, so it takes a while for adaptation to change happen, sorry. And that's why we have to, you know, change things and do stuff. So, and I have to be enough open-minded, and also people who are, you know, with me or are interested in what I do, they always have to expect that because it is optimizing, and we need to feel the resistance, you know. And not, you know, I guess not everybody or who does what I do is that level, that, you know, in every gym there's one, you know, me or Chris Paynes or who really knows it, you know, or can do it in a certain level. Then it would be easy. People have time to adapt, you know, and they have their own mini me, you know, so to speak, who's keeping it up. But sometimes, very often it's not. So if I come back, they have their thoughts, you know, and they try again, or, you know, so it's a little bit a winded process. So,
funny you should say, Chris. I messaged him about an hour ago, just saying, "Can I come up and train with you?" And he was like, "Yeah, no problem." But shout out to Chris. We'll chat about him a little bit more in a minute. I was watching Gordon Ryan's doing a vlog at the moment of his training kind of regime up to his fight with Vinny Magalhaes that got cancelled, and he's now going up against Nicky Rod. And he did a vlog, and he was talking about turning up to training one day, and he said John Danaher got on the mat, and he said John had said, "Right, everyone gather around. I've just spent the last few days looking and reviewing the most successful pin in freestyle wrestling, Greco wrestling, and we're going to implement that today into today's session." If he's pulling that type of information from other sports, how are you developing, or where are you getting your knowledge and information from?
From the universe. That is let's say, I would also say something similar, that I like to watch more like, let's say, NCAA highlights, or, you know, scrambling sequences, or somebody does a breakdown. I don't specifically watch the matches. You know, when somebody NCAA something goes, I spend a day watching those matches, like full matches. I don't do that. But it's an interesting question, because I'm just, let's say, I'm following what works or something. What also, let's say I get some wrestling, whatever, but like some of the positions like the Hawking or whatever, I'm just a very blind believer by now, that there are those positions. Yeah. So if something starts to, you know, like a thread starts to go, you know, so I'm always like looking. I know there has to be optimized version, and I'm just feeling how it goes and where I have to put this and this. And now it becomes easier, because now we know there's shapes. Now we know there's structures, and we can just, I don't want to say like from the thin air, just take it, you know. There's certain structures how your body can just move, you know, and it cannot be different in stand-up wrestling and jiu-jitsu. So certain structures, they just exist. And interestingly, they just are in jiu-jitsu also there. So early development, like a grilled chicken and stuff. So, you know, all the open guard, it's just watching matches and then seeing, like, let's say, oh, like that, that's a back stuff. There was one guy, Jay Kennedy from Seattle, that showed me Vitor Sholin, and I think it was Marco Barbosa fight. It was a super fight. And Shaolin it was an old fight, 10 years, whatever, even more maybe. And Shaolin took the guy back, 4 times. Yeah, Shaolin was one of the best grapplers back in the day. And Mr. Barbosa escaped his back 4 times. I would say no, I would say even like, let's say easy, yeah. And I was like, okay, Shaolin, kind of good grappler, knows stuff, And then that one guy just escapes his back like that, 4 times. I'm sold. What the hell is it, And then actually that video started my back survival research. Then we developed this, what the fanatics call the hidden posture, on your elbow or something, there's a DVD about it. NCAA wrestlers actually use it a lot, a similar structure. But we have, chokes and stuff, and they have less, attacks, but it's actually quite similar. And so that was inspiration. And then let's say the open guard, the grilled chicken, what I call, is Galvao and Braulio Estima super match, back in 2013, I think, ADCC. And then I know Braulio was sick then also, I think somebody said, but Galvao, it was no-gi match. Galvao had super hard time passing his guard. And seemingly like Braulio even didn't do much, just kept certain structure, And I was like, okay, if Galvao has so much trouble passing that thing, that I'm interested, And it kind of, that structure really hit me, like I call it, hit me in the face in that sense. I was like, okay, something is there, that why he has so much so much trouble passing that. So certain things are more like I see, and let's say Baby Bridge. Baby Bridge started with Wim, Wim did it. Wim de Peter, Belgian coach. I think it was 2017 or something, even 18 maybe. Summer camp, Globetrotters, and he did his Baby Bridge class. And I was back then more about crunching all the time, the running mans and Hawkings and turtles and stuff, and he was like extending. He thought it was the best thing ever. Everything was Baby Bridge. And then we met then in a like, if I skip to the end a bit, is like little bit, let's say little bit, because of me, he got more curious about the crunching stuff because he was more about extending. And because of him, I was like, God damn it, there's what the class was, what he did was really like, it's goddamn strong. The structure is good. So why does it exist? It's the extension, And so it took me like 8 months to really understand, and then it kind of clicked after this class, because I kept it on. I didn't understand it because it looked really good, like structurally. And that started, that now we have different kind of, mini Baby Bridge, full Baby Bridge. We have a head down, head up version that I think even Wim uses head up more these days, as much as I talk to him. I see him actually tomorrow. We're going to Germany with Octavio Kudo, so I can bug him more maybe. So I see structures in the matches, in somebody's classes, and somehow I don't know why they make sense to me. They look solid, and then it kind of ignites my interest, and then I try to understand them. So it is watching, I think, others. I don't know if the other sports, especially, like you had an example, but I think watching others, good guys, and doing something because they can't lie, they have to do something right in a sparring matches and stuff, and that sticks to me, like why it worked, because it's decent level and it shouldn't work if it would be that bad, and then it ignites my research, and I somehow just super blindly go, like obsess about it like a lot. And so those early developments gave me trust that there are something there. And now if I see something, I know it's there, and I just go because I've done it before, and I will figure out again if there's something there. Some are maybe dead ends, but we will find out, and some maybe we find. So yeah, so I that's why I call it universe. It's just like, and a lot of people don't see it also, because I see it clearly, and many people slept on that back escape match. Yeah, they didn't, yeah, whatever, I was like, yeah, how can you escape Vitor Scholin's back 4 times easily. It has to be good, you know. So certain things I just stick out to me, and then I run with them. So
Yeah, but we talked about this in the last podcast when I said I went training one night and my coach had taught us grilled chicken and it just went woof straight over because I wasn't ready to absorb
yep,
it, learn it, understand it. I just went, yeah, fine. And then it didn't work a couple of times, etc. And then we did it about 6 months later, revisited Turtle, Panda, Running Man, Hawking. And then the penny dropped. There was a massive penny drop moment. And I don't know why. It was just at that particular moment, for me, it landed. So I think when you say you watch stuff, you can look at stuff, but then you can look and you can watch something to really see and focus. What is it I'm looking for here? Do you know? Does that make sense?
yeah, because I think it's really you have to have a previous question. So maybe 6 months ago you didn't have that question towards I don't know what, and then after 6 months you tried it. Maybe you have developed certain unconscious questions, you know, because I don't know. And somebody asks also, like people always ask why you're so defensive and how come you started to look for answering those questions. But that's like every coach's job to make like a white belt suffer less, you know, to have better escapes, you know, because people stay longer because they get out or they don't suffer so much. Or so I think that started like me trying to give beginners better question, you know. Clearly I got stuck also myself under good guys, and you know, I was like, why I'm here, how to answer it better. But I think I still remember, like I said, there's some white and blue belts, they're doing stuff and I gave them stupid answer like try harder or something. And so it is, there has to be like a previous unconscious thing. And if somebody has like theories, you know, or they remember why it clicked now and why it didn't click then, I'm super interested to see, because I know when I've been in seminars, not naming where, there was different clubs coming together, yeah, and let's say 2/3 people got it, and 1/3 really was like, what the hell is this? I don't like it. Who uses this? And then after a while, those 2/3 people got good, you know. Let's say I'm you know, generalizing in and then the other didn't, and then when they got shown what they do and why they're good, they were like, what is it? But you were in the same seminar, guys, how didn't you? Yeah, but they just went, you know, and they didn't get it, you know. And so it's and I have very hard time, you know, why. So yeah, I have very hard time understanding like why some people get it and why some people don't. And I would like to, you know, understand it, because I can really not really relate to it, because I haven't, you know, I haven't gone through that struggle. So yeah, so if somebody's listening or want to reach out that, you know, I thought this and now I'm thinking this and this helped me. So maybe it's their specific stuff, but maybe if, you know, if enough people write me something, maybe I see a pattern. Or but mostly I feel they're just not ready, or they haven't suffered enough, or sometimes, you know, if you coach, then you start to think certain way, that if you just roll yourself and you don't feel like, oh, whatever, you know. But if you start to teach, then you see the problem right away, you know. So yeah, so I'm
Maybe,
always,
maybe
yeah.
that's the difference between a dogmatic approach and a more open-minded approach. And there could be reasons, you know, there are lots of kind of parameters that can impact upon your way of thinking. Yeah, this is the way we learn it. This is how we do it. And, you know, there's no exception. And that can kind of you know, really kind of tunnel your learning experience in.
It is, I think, yeah, somewhat, you know, obviously I think we give too much trust to coaches. Well, and also I think it's super bad to be totally, you know, skeptical about everything they do, you know. You have to kind of give them certain respect that they know. So I know it can be difficult, like, do I have to just doubt everything they do, or how much? So it is a tricky thing if you're a student, you know, that you kind of have to trust your coach, you know. But then I think the coach's job is to like try to provide the best environment to find out or also be aware of the, shortcomings, like, okay, this is what we don't know yet so far, or this information hasn't been upgraded since 90s, or and be kind of that understanding that kind of, I have it, so I don't know why other people's don't, or I don't remember the time how I was when I didn't have that feeling, so that's why it's hard to relate. But I guess I'm curious, and I didn't have a hard time changing and opening myself up to those things. But also, I was alone in Estonia, kind of, and we were part of the SPG and stuff, but still, there were like, closest to England, Ireland, or America, next one. And so a lot of things had to be done by yourself, and so if somebody has already like a decent gym and stuff, it's different. Their mindset growing up is different, and so I think us being so east here maybe pushed us more to, study, explore, try to find our own answers, because that seems to be a very common nominator amongst people who get good, not fast, but just, let's say, overall get good or reach that black belt level. They're mostly some way mat rats. They're mostly people that some way solving their own problems, and yes, solving their own problems. My kid walked in, and are curious, it's not like, oh, what I do in a class, sometimes, you need a mount escape, but the mount escape coming maybe 6 months from now, so you need to put yourself in sparrings in mount escape and use beginners also to train mount escapes while they're not in the curriculum, coming close by, so I think I was always like that, and curious, finding out. And I think a lot of people actually just come to class and, are more following the structures, and then maybe those questions don't arise so fast, and yeah, so yeah, I feel I'm lucky. I am this way, because, other way also, my biggest fear was as an Estonian who maybe would reach a black belt in some point. I was always like, I will get stuck in Estonia, so because I'm not a world champion, and I'm not a world champion, and our scenery is different. So I would be stuck in Estonia, and who knows where I would be, but somehow this curiosity led to, figuring out, and now I have that small niche. I can exist and travel, and people seems to be interested, and there's very few of us that actually are studying defense, it seems, and I'm happy I was that curious.
How long do you think it'll be before we start seeing some of your concepts maybe adapted by New Wave, John Danaher, and all the rest of it? And why do you think it hasn't kind of been adapted already?
But I think it's already happening. I always forget his name, so I'm very bad with names. But that young guy, maybe 17, 18, that won the Asian trials in ADCC? He was also in Sonny Brown podcast. He actually mentioned me that he's studying also my work. And so that's a B team guy. Pretty, always like, I've seen Lachlan Giles, he does his gym, does a seminar in his gym also soon, I think, in Australia. And so, and if you have seen Greg Jones' recent Instagram things, and YouTube, he's playing turtle, and he's using straight arm turtle. He's turning his back. Yeah, actually, recent one was he stood up from turtle. It was a recent kind of video.
Yeah, sorry.
So yeah, he's been actually, those 2 last videos, he's been actually, I don't know where he gets them, because, I don't think it's me. I'm not being that stupid saying, oh, that's my stuff. I think if we're after the same thing, we kind of come up with similar things. And when he talked about it, actually, the first video released that he was using turtle and stuff, I think his reasoning was, first of all, turtling because now opponent has to hold on to you, and he can't actually punch you so much. Then it was basically also like because of Volkanovski's fight. Yeah, because he doesn't want to be, side control bottom. He wants to turtle stand up, you know, because he has a fight coming in UFC, kind of hard fight. And they were exploring those options, you know, how to play and how to do this and that. And he was turning his back like in a hidden posture way that the Barbosa did in Shaolin match. And he was doing very, very many things that I do, or, you know, something. I will never say they're from me in that sense. But I know I've seen also videos when they do, you know, let's say I call it my turtle, you know, the similar turtle, head on a mat, elbows out. And there was some match. Craig was also there. And some guy was testing, and that guy was attacking. He actually didn't take the back. And and I think that that guy, yeah, I'm sorry, I don't know his name. I always forget. Clearly does it himself a little bit. And Craig is now playing around with this, you know. So it was really, for me, it's really interesting to see what they do. And the very important one is like, I can explain why it works. And I haven't seen Reddit jumping on him, you know, and clearly I don't think he has tested, because I think his gym is full of good people, you know. But again, is it like argument is always like, oh, does it work against, you know, higher level guys, you know, because a lot of people are smaller than him also that is testing it on. So, but Greg Jones, interestingly, I very much recommend people look it up, those B team stuff. You know, I don't know exactly what videos recently, but there's been 2 where Greg Jones has played with turtle and also standing up. I think it was the last one was a video in a Guinan's gym. He did a seminar there. It was a lot of people there, and he also sparred with those people. So I think it was a little bit like a highlight of that kind of seminar package. In there, he uses turtle up, and he stayed kind of straight leg turtle, hunch turtle, straight legs, and like I do. I always said like standing up is a good option and stuff, and I'm very happy that Craig explores also that side, so I can also see what they come up with, you know, and I can learn from that. And it's very fun to see that we think similarly, or it kind of reassures me that, you know, I'm not the crazy one, you know, and there's something there that they're practicing also, and clearly they're having some success. So it kind of, not like what's the word, not justify or legitimatize. I don't think that. Yeah, I don't think that much, but it's still like fun to see that, oh, they're doing it, you know, over across the pond, you know, across the Atlantic, and oh, we're kind of like similar, you know, you can clearly see that. And I'm like, okay, now I'm inspired, because if Craig does it too, I'm gonna go more even harshly, because now I know, yes, we're good, you know, we do something here and it looks similar, so research is ongoing, you know. There's less of that, because I'm always doubtful of my work, and now I could say that it's less doubts because they're doing something like that, yeah. And I have no clue why, or because there's also only recent 2 videos, so maybe if they have done something before but they didn't film, you know, no. So, you know, I can never, I credit them for finding out for themselves, by themselves, you know. And it's fun because it's, you know, if 2 people are figuring out math in different continent, we will come up with the same solutions, you know. So I'm very happy, and I hope I really like, it's like a childish hope, but I would hope that in the future we could compare notes, because I would be really interested to do like ask, you know, the Craig, like what he's finding, why he does this, what is his feeling. I would like to pick his brain, because that's really, really interesting what he does. I don't know if he has anything learned from me. I want to be like that, like just, okay, Craig, why you do this, why you do this, what do you feel? I know I would like to bug him, because I could learn so much.
It was interesting what Roger Gracie said on the Lex Friedman podcast recently about defense first, or defensive postures first. And I saw your post from it thinking, yeah, brilliant.
That was, yeah, but, you know, I feel also, you know, because that was, I haven't had time to listen to it. I go tomorrow to Germany, so I will have my flights and stuff, and I will listen. But yeah, so, and jokingly, I would say, you know, if Roger has said it, you know, debate is over, you know. He has submitted everyone, basically, yeah. And then he's very good defensive, everybody knows. And if that guy, says, don't escape right away, defend first, structures first. You have to have there's fine line. Maybe you can do it transitional, but if you're so much in trouble, stay safe first, survive, and then escape. So, and even, that kind of message was like, you don't have to escape right away, kind of like, because escape can lead you to the worst position even. So I really love the message. And again, I've seen he does actually kind of similar turtle to me, head on a mat and everything. So, and that his famous escape against Buchecha in Metamoris, that was, I can explain it, I don't know how he did it, but I can explain it with a reverse hitchhike, and maybe he has a different explanation, but I can use this model to, explain why he got out. So yeah, I'm really fascinated, and I'm really happy he said those things, and the information is out there, and now it's everybody's time to make a decision. Are you go like, yeah, or like Roger said this, you don't have to go like super blind about it, at only defense, but I've heard also, Gordon Ryan has said this, first couple of belts, white and blue belt, concentrate on the defensive, be really good. Danaher talks about it all the time right now, defense, and that's why you're so aggressive, you can be so aggressive. So it is there, but it still, I feel, falls to, some half deaf ears, because it's less sexy, and but yeah, so, and in every sport, football, whatever, it's always defense, and that allows you to build on your attack. And I think in jiu-jitsu, when maybe, we figured out the leg locks, and maybe it comes now time to do also upper body stuff, because I haven't seen it yet. I really want to actually get my hands on it. That Gordon Ryan also, like, new DVD series got out, like upper body chokes or something, like choking DVD cut out. So I have saw a lot of DVDs actually to watch, that about defense, and
he went on to say, and I think it was the Buchecha fight, but he said, I'm attacking the neck and he's trying to clear the hooks.
Yeah.
And then when you think about the stuff you're teaching, it's just constantly defend the neck, etc. Don't worry about the hooks. That'll come later.
Yeah, so defend the neck and wrist fight or a structure, and then, yeah, of course, if you can, you escape in transition and don't settle. But if you're a beginner grappler, it's overwhelming. So it's rather likely that you get your back taken, and if you start to hectically escape because you're panicking, you will get in more trouble against, other white belts or blue belts. So it makes sense to accept that you're there, survive, and then build your case and escape. And I guess they have to believe that like, not like later, like deeper trouble escapes, but just time wise, later escapes. Like, somebody takes my back, and if they keep the back 1 minute, I can still get out. It's not like, you get deeper problems, deeper chokes, but overall, if they still keep, I still can get out, because sometimes beginners have doubts about it, that's why they want to do it very early, because they think that if they have my back longer, maybe my percentage goes down of escaping, and so, yeah, there's a lot of information weirdly coming out at the moment about all the defense stuff. Like, Greg Jones is doing something, Roger Gracie says defense first. So I'm happy, I don't have to now I don't know, talk that much, but I have those pillars. I have those 2 pillars to lean on right now and go like, okay, go watch Greg Jones stuff, if you don't like what I do, watch Greg Jones. He's also doing straight arm turtles, turning his back, and that's interesting, and go argue with him, and Roger said something, so go argue with Roger. So
yeah,
and yeah, but I like it also that my name is somewhat out right now, and people are trying to pick it apart in that sense, or maybe my name gets spoken in Reddit at least sometimes too much, and then people are curious, who the hell is that guy? So I think I don't especially agree that every exposure is a good exposure, you know. But I guess it's good that my name is there. Maybe some more curious people can pick it up. You know, there's also less curious people, but I think overall so far it has been like overall positive. You know, that people have opinion towards what I do. They're not neutral. They know, and then they don't like it or like it. So I think it's good for the progress. You know, and that's the so far. You know, I see it that way.
Um, how do the defensive postures change, in your opinion, from being in the gi to being in no gi?
Not at all. I am very serious about that. Um, let's even more say it more risky.
Okay, sorry,
Literally,
maybe I didn't ask that right.
I got
So the postures, I know the postures don't change. Maybe what I mean is, what are the differences between doing those defensive postures? So the postures don't change, but what are the differences between having that defensive mindset, working those postures, being in the gi and being no gi? Now we know the differences between in the gi, no gi. No gi is a faster game. Being in the gi, there's more friction, so it's a lot slower. There's more to grip, etc. In your opinion, what else are the other kind of differences?
I honestly would say still there's not much difference because I know there's the sweat is there, so people maybe can go through gaps better, so to speak. Um, and gi, there's more cloth in it, so I can squeeze things better. Maybe that. So that would imply that, let's say, in no gi, I would have to repummel things faster, and wrist fight more. But I also think in a gi, I wrist fight for the neck more. Yeah. So, like, I don't because I like to get choked and stuff. So I want to develop. But overall, I would have to wrist fight for the neck more, so to speak. And maybe no gi, yeah, like underhooks, or maybe, I have, let's call it, harder time maybe closing the gaps because there's sweat, just it makes it so slippery. But yeah, in different ways, maybe there's a different wrist fighting repummeling activity. Yeah, because I guess for a neck is no gi, the seat belt is there, but maybe they go for a chin strap, let's say from the side control or something. But gi obviously has more options here to torture. So, but structure wise, that's why I like to wear a gi, because I like people to grab me. Yeah, I like to have a gi because it's easier to do leg locks because they cannot spin out, and gi gives me extra friction to develop leg locks. They have a harder time to defend. And also I use gi, even if somebody's a no gi, I use gi pants because I have harder time to escape. And then my escape has to be better. And I do no gi, basically myself, no gi in a gi. I don't grab a gi if somebody has one. I like mechanical grips. That my mechanical would be wrist and everything. I don't, not like grabbing somebody's cloth. I don't usually do that. Maybe for a choke, but I mostly like anyway attacking kimuras and arm bars. And so in all honesty, I would say what I know at the moment, there is not much difference, but only I would say, yeah, like in a gi, maybe more neck area of wrist fighting. Yeah. That you would do in no gi also, but gi has more threats. And maybe like some underhook fights more in no gi because the gi has more cloth. My cloth, basically your cloth, and then my gi top cloth. So maybe it's harder for underhook. So maybe a little bit emphasis changes of the some pummeling and wrist fighting, but structures are pretty much I use them both cases. Yeah. So that's weird. That's super weird actually that it works that way, because that's usually everybody's doubt when I do like my back stuff and back survival. Then it's like, oh, what about the gi, and then I put the gi on, I do the same structure. So I always said that if you really want to know you're good, if you're, let's say, no gi guy, and then get efficient in what I do, put the gi on and go to gi class and let people choke you, and they should have a very hard time. I think still gi stuff needs adaptation, but it should be very, very hard. Typically, that's their Achilles heel, you know, put the gi on, and then the awareness for the gi chokes are different, you know. So then I would not say that, oh, nobody will submit you. But if you really know what I know, they should have a harder time, and that should be unexpected. Yeah. So, and even I think you would survive some chokes, but even if you get tapped, then gi guys would go like, yeah, it's surprisingly hard to submit you, because even if you're not aware of the gis, because you don't train it. And so that would be the evidence I would expect, yeah, suspect, expect, predict, if you are well versed. Yeah. So, and that's already a good sign that it, you know, and then you can do it more, you know, but I guess your motivation might be also lacking for why I would have to defend gi chokes that well, you know, because it already works in no gi decently. Okay. But I just think that people are talking these days more about constraint-led method than gi is kind of constraint and forces to solve similar problems differently. Yeah. And then I think even once a week, or I don't know, putting the gi on, or once in 2 weeks, or, you know, helps you to see things differently, even in your sport is a no gi. And so, like, you know, like footballers, they play sometimes on a sand, you know. It's not the same, you know, football, but it forces you to control the ball different. It bounces differently, you know. So you adapt right away, and then you appreciate when it's in a grass, and then you have actually developed a better control over the ball and understand the bounce even better, because it's like a different surface, you know. But on a grass, you don't develop that. So it's close to similar. So it helps to deviate from your own sport a little bit, to keep it similar, but, you know, not that it's a different game totally. So the gi and no gi, I think that's what the constraint is. I'm not saying you should do a gi to get good in no gi. I'm not saying that. But I think overall, to relax your mind, to have fun, you know, to have your mind triggered differently, you know, just like, you know, like wrestlers, they do it a lot. Like they pay, like, you know, they call it like a strength basketball. They do other activities, a little bit even like, let's say, off season or something like this, or maybe even during the season, just to get their mind off from something, you know. And because it's a gi in a no gi guy, then it's you're like, you see things differently, so it helps you to relax a little bit. And, you know, so I think it's people talk about it, that so it's a very powerful tool to have that different constraint, like, you know, like doing leg locks in a gi pants, you know, or even like if you do a no gi, you know, everybody's no gi, you have spats on, but put a boot on, you know, wrestling boot, and your heel exposure is totally different, you know. And if you get adapted to the wrestling boot heel, and you can escape those things, yeah, because definitely you have rubber, and the friction is way better to hold and everything. And then you take a boot off, you're a god, you know, because now you're adapted to the bigger heel, you know, and more friction, and now you have a smaller heel and like a crazy, like a slippery, you know. So I think those constrained method will push you to adapt faster and expose the problems faster, maybe even, because sometimes the no-gi slipping heel and all the sweat will hide the problems actually. So I think that's the no-gi and gi stuff. And even I would say that, you know, for a gi guy, do a no-gi, then everything is slippery. Then you have to find those, I call them mechanical grips, to hold people. You can't just rely on grabbing people's mid back because you have a gi there, you know. So I think we help each other.
You're over in the UK, in the West, well, not West Midlands, but in Stafford in April next year. Is that right?
No,
Oh,
that's not correct.
not confirmed.
No, I will. So in that sense, I will be in Stafford also in January.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and then I will also be in April also. So
That's what I
yes.
said.
No, you. So yeah, but I will also be in January.
Oh, okay,
So
cool. Right.
yeah,
So
so
January and April in
yes,
Stafford.
yes.
Right. Okay, super stuff. Where else can people kind of get in touch with you?
Well, Instagram, Priit down slash Mihkelson.
Underscore.
Yeah, but I think underscore. Yeah, but I think you can spell my name Priit Mihkelson correctly, you know. And then you can find Facebook. Facebook, obviously, the fancy BJJ site. I'm there. my seminar schedule is also public in a Defensive BJJ site, so people can see where I'm close to their, gym, like in Europe a lot of times. So yeah, so those are, I think, and yeah, so Instagram, Facebook, my site, seminars, that's about it, I think, or those are already good starters. If you can't reach me from there, then yeah, so yeah, I think that's good already, good list.
Well, thanks very much for your time today, mate. We're gonna have to cut it short again, and hopefully catch up in the new year.
I would love to do it. Seems like our time flies when we're talking, and if there's still something we can discuss, I'm happy to do it again.
Well, I asked everybody, especially from my gym, I've got Priit on again, any questions? Nobody came back to me. So it's like, you've missed your opportunity now. I'm going to ask all the questions. There you go.
So yeah, we'll see. If there's something, I'm willing to do it. If I don't have anything to say, then, then there's no point doing it just for talking sake. And we'll see. Yeah, I'm happy to do it.
Brilliant. Thank you, Priit. Speak to you soon.